let's go back to the prophecies and what you saw. This border crisis, is it government created? Is it a diversion? Tell me how you saw that, and I know you wrote about it in Saved by the Light.
Okay, so this is Saved by the Light, written in 1993 and published in 1994. This is in box 12. There were 12 boxes of information that I received from beings. Some people call them angels. I didn't see them as angels, but here's what it says. I saw millions of people streaming across north out of El Salvador, Nicaragua, and more millions crossing the Rio Grande into Texas. There were so many that we had to line the border with troops and force them back across the river. That's today, everybody. It was written 20 years ago. But what does that tell us? Here was the other part. It said that if we keep, this is from 1975, if we keep following the same dogma, that the world in 2004 would not only be the same one we're in now, but it could still be changed if you could help it. Where were we in 1975? We were ending the Vietnam War. We had lost people. We had lost lives. We left guys missing in action. We still know that that happened. And where are we in 2004? We're in Afghanistan and Iraq fighting the longest wars that we've ever fought, tried down, spent trillions of dollars. What all this means, Mel, is the spiritual world understands the possibilities of where we can go and what we can do. We are failing. And in the course of looking at that, if you have an immigration issue and you turn it into a humanitarian crisis, America will let them in. Okay, and so that has got to be contrived. Anyone who has ever seen the border between those countries, Guatemala and El Salvador, you see those borders, you come across the border in Mexico, they rob you or rape you, they put you in jail, they take your picture and they put you back across. How did all those kids get across Mexico? Ain't no way that could have happened, Mel. So
our own guy, one of our own military, can't even get back across the border. But yet, they coming through?
Yeah, one Marine, not all men, one Marine can't get across. So it's the same thing that you were talking about. We're heading toward either an era of peace or we're heading toward World War.
Now, what do you think our administration should do about getting this Marine back across the border?
Do the same thing Andrew Jackson did when he took California, Arizona, and New Mexico and Texas.
Those territories?
Yeah, he rode down to Maximilian's, pulled a gun out and said, "Give it to us."
There you go.
There's no issue, Mel. There's no issue. We're letting all these people come across the border, but they're not Mexicans. The thing that scared me the most when I was looking at it, a Marine's tough. His job, if that was his job and he made the mistake, then he's doing what he's supposed to do, and we'll get him out. But when I saw a picture of the flyers that were in Texas, it was in English, Spanish, and Chinese.
Chinese?
English, Spanish, and Chinese.
Wait a minute. If we got a Hispanic problem, why is it in Chinese?
Maybe they're just bringing Ebola here.
Now, folks, this is something that we're going to deal in further, but it won't be tonight. Ebola. Population control. I think this is just another one of the tools of Mr. Gates instilling the programs that he wishes to see, just as written in the Georgia Guidestones.
Well,
that's personal opinion.
Well, I would say that it is the greater force at work. If you look at chapter 5 in Saved by the Light, I write about chemical and biological weaponry. If you were going to destroy a nation and you were letting them pour across the southern border, it would be very easy to incite this crowd in Missouri, in middle America, and take a person who is a suicide bomber with the Ebola virus and put him in the middle of it. Or if you let those people come across, if I'd seen it in Arabic as opposed to Chinese, I'd be a lot more worried, Mel. But, if you had a suicide bomber, and because I write about the French, the biological poisoning in the French water. Well, Ebola would travel that same way. So if you were going to create a weaponized invasion of America, and you could come through the southern border, and pay attention to Ebola, and pay attention to the fact that there are quote-unquote martyrs who are willing to kill themselves to set infection in a population. Well, would the government know about that? If I know about it, Mel, they know about it.
Of course.
If I know about it, they know about it. Okay, so we're in so far some exciting times, everybody, and you better make sure you're eating healthy and you're eating right. And you better make sure you're not hanging out with a lot of people who've been in foreign countries.
There you go. Now, with all of the influx of the, and I'm just going to say illegals, they're not immigrants because they're, you know, an immigrant is someone that filed papers and they came across. There is a difference. I mean, because my great-grandfather was an immigrant, and he filed. I got a friend down here, Susie, at the Chinese restaurant. She was an immigrant, okay? I've got another friend who is Hispanic from Mexico, and she's not at all happy about what's coming across the border because she has been here enough years that she's seeing the decay that was there is starting to
Move here.
To move here. Now, the thing is, our government is financing all of these people. They're sending planes. Now, we originally heard there was 350 of these people coming to South Carolina. Now, it is my understanding that there is an excess of 1,000 here. The federal government has assured us that it's not going to cost us anything, Dannion. Nothing. Because they are integrating them into people's homes, into families. Well, let me ask you something. Who foots the bill for schooling?
We do.
Okay. So at that point, is those 1,000 kids integrated into our school system going to cost us money?
Yep.
Okay.
Do I think it's worth it? Absolutely, Mel. Well, listen, here's what's going to happen. Catherine and I go to, we're big Maya junkies. So
Mayan.
So we spend a lot of time in Central and South America and Mesoamerica.
Mm-hmm.
We were down in near Tulum, and I said, Kat, I have the perfect idea. Let's give these people Detroit. Just let's buy them all a coat and give them Detroit. Okay? Because the socialized part of this immigration and what it's going to cost everybody, and the fact that it's illegal and our borders are porous, that is the failure of the administration and the government to protect our borders. End of story, no more question. If you turn an immigration issue into a humanitarian crisis, then it had to be planned, it had to be perpetrated, and what does it plan to do? If you look at the strength of the dollar based on Chapter 5 in Saved by the Light, we must be nearing an economic collapse. We must be nearing, the country has been bankrupt, that was 2008. It says we're nearing an economic collapse. So what does that take in an economic collapse? What it takes is this. It takes the United States of North America, Canada for its access to the Arctic and its oil, America for its intellectual ingenuity, and Mexico as a workforce to compete with the Asian Pacific to the Chinese bloc. That's why we've moved toward China. This is what's going to happen.
In the American Union.
The United States of North America, and that's all this is about. And you integrate these people, and 20 years from now, 100,000 kids coming in will be a new voting block, a new power block, so that they can, as surely as they do that, achieve this goal.
All right, folks, you've heard it. Now, let's address our veterans. We're financing, we're taking care of these children, we're clothing these children, we're putting them on military bases, we're putting them in FEMA camps, but yet 200,000 vets are on the streets of America tonight, Dannion.
It's more than that. Think of this. How many homeless female veterans? Guys, let me tell you something, Mel. A guy, he either makes it or he doesn't. And he's got a chance and an opportunity, and the government has completely, totally, and absolutely failed. I've been a hospice volunteer in the VA for 31 years. I see these people. I know these people. But to take a female combat veteran and to make her homeless And to leave her out there and not not be concerned or caring, this is a moral sin. To take a veteran who's seen combat and to leave them unhoused now since the Vietnam War, more than the Vietnam War. Think about it. And now we can come in and we can house these people. This should be a moral cry and a moral outrage. And to realize that same homeless veteran may have got bumped off the list because he didn't have a phone number, and in the course of sleeping on the street, if he was in Arizona, he died because of that system. Wake up, America. Look, it's important to me that people understand this. The greatness of a nation is how it takes care of its innocent and how it serves and protects its veterans, because without that veteran, it has no chance to be America. If you don't go to war and protest this and to write congressman and senator in this midterm election year, you are failing these people. They need a chance and they need jobs. When you realize that the government is cutting the military back at such an exorbitant, enormous rate of manpower, and at the same time you got a captain in combat in Afghanistan, and you send him a note and tell him he's fired when he comes out of combat. This is crazy, Mel.
I agree with you totally.
So homelessness has to stop. Female homelessness is evil.